The promise is simple. A Hermes agent becomes useful when it can read the systems where your real work already lives. Akshay's source post does not show a fake dashboard. It shows a real integration grid: Obsidian, Reddit, InsForge, GitHub, Firecrawl, YouTube transcripts, Google Workspace, Discord, Stripe, Bland or Twilio, Graffiti, and Fireflies. In the first few seconds, that is the whole thesis. Hermes stops being a chatbot when it can touch notes, code, inbox, meetings, payments, and channels. Here is what Akshay is claiming. The post calls these the top Hermes integrations to give your agent superpowers. The important part is not the logo count. The important part is the shape of the stack. Some integrations make the agent read better. Some make it execute work. Some connect it to the business. And some give it longer-term memory, so every conversation is not a blank slate. The official Hermes docs line up with that framing. Hermes Agent is described as a self-improving AI agent by News Research. The docs show a one-line install command, then quick links for tools, tool sets, memory, skills, messaging gateway, and MCP integration. That matters because the integration story is not bolted on later. Tools and external connectors are part of the operating model. The first layer is knowledge and research. Obsidian turns a personal vault into live context. Akshay describes it as a second brain that talks back, because every note, page, and backlink can become material for the agent to reason over. Reddit is the opposite kind of knowledge source: messy, public, and useful because it shows what real users say without corporate polish. Firecrawl is there because agents need clean web extraction, not raw pages full of navigation and scripts. YouTube transcripts turn long videos, podcasts, tutorials, and interviews into searchable text. Fireflies does the same for meetings, so a question like "what did that client say about pricing last month" can be answered from transcript history instead of memory alone. The second layer is execution. GitHub is the obvious one. If Hermes can see code, issues, and pull requests, it can behave more like an engineering teammate. InsForge sits next to that as the agentic backend layer. Akshay frames it as auth, database, storage, and functions exposed through one semantic surface, so the agent is not juggling disconnected services. Google Workspace is the day-to-day work layer: Gmail, Calendar, Drive, Docs, and Sheets. Discord is the channel automation layer. A concrete example from the post is support emails getting scanned, categorized, and dropped into an organized channel. The official tools page supports this larger picture. Hermes tools are organized into tool sets, and the docs list web search, browser automation, terminal and file operations, media tools, agent orchestration, memory, automation, delivery, and integrations. That is why a Hermes workflow can combine research, file changes, browser work, scheduling, and message delivery in one task instead of handing you a pile of disconnected suggestions. The third layer is business and communication. Stripe matters because payment and subscription data become queryable. Instead of clicking through dashboards, you can ask which trials converted, which customers downgraded, or where refunds are clustering. Bland or Twilio gives the agent a voice surface for real calls, like confirmations, reservations, or follow-ups. Graffiti by Zep adds a relationship layer. Akshay's framing is that this moves the agent from flat similarity search towards structured connections between people, documents, conversations, and events. MCP is the bridge that makes this kind of stack realistic. The Hermes MCP docs say Hermes can connect to external tool servers, including GitHub, databases, file systems, browser stacks, internal APIs, and more. They also mention startup discovery and per-server filtering. In plain English, that means you can expose useful tools without exposing everything. A GitHub server, a Stripe-like server, or an internal API can be filtered so Hermes sees the specific operations you actually want it to use. The quoted article gives the setup proof. The first source screen recording shows Hermes setup in a terminal, provider configuration, terminal backend choices, messaging platform setup, and the Hermes TUI with tools and skills visible. The second recording shows a programmer profile being created, the backend selector, a Hermes chat prompt, and a workflow where Hermes checks Claude code, creates a staff engineer style procedure, and asks for Claude authentication. The audio tracks in those videos are silent, but the terminal proof is real. So the narration here is explaining what the screen recording itself shows. If I were setting this up in order, I would not enable all 12 integrations on day one. Start with the systems that answer the most questions with the least risk: GitHub for engineering work, Google Workspace for daily operations, and Obsidian for your own notes. Then add Firecrawl, Reddit, YouTube transcripts, and Fireflies as the research layer. After that, connect business surfaces like Stripe, Discord, and phone workflows. Add graffiti when relationship memory becomes more valuable than simple retrieval. The caveat is secrets and permissions. A connected agent is powerful because it can act, but every connector needs the right scope, audit trail, and failure mode. Read-only access is often enough for the first version. For payments, calls, and customer communication, keep human review in the loop until the workflow is boring and reliable. That is the real takeaway from Akshay's post. Hermes becomes interesting when it is not isolated. Notes make it remember your thinking. Repos make it understand your work. Docs and transcripts make it research faster. Messaging and calendars let it show up where you already are. Payments, calls, and knowledge graphs turn it into an operator for the business. The stack is not about collecting integrations. It is about giving the agent trustworthy context, safe tools, and a path to improve every time it runs. If you want to try it, start with Hermes Agent's official docs, pick one integration that removes a real weekly chore, and connect only that. Then add the next system when the first one proves useful. That is how an agent moves from clever chat to practical infrastructure.